If chicken breast, broccoli, and rice are the holy trinity if you want to cook a nutritious meal, then bread, milk, and eggs must be the holy trinity when you want to get a quick and healthy bite at home. And it is more than just a quick bite. This classic takeaway combo has been implemented almost at every corner of every street. Cafes, convenience stores, schools, and even food trucks. And while this popular trio goes very well with the general population, I would caution those from the gym nation be very careful with this combo, particularly if your aim is to get really jacked. I used to heavily rely on this combo as a cheat code to meet my nutrition needs when I was busy trying to build my personal training business and had no time to cook. But since then, I've learned my lesson. And today, it is time for me to share my experiences with you and tell you why I have a beef with two of the most popular foods on this planet. Welcome to Fast Track Gains. I'm here to help you accelerate your gains. I have to admit, the classic combo of bread, milk, and eggs is a pretty good choice for a normal sedentary person who's not taking a serious interest in training and only eating moderate amount of food to maintain their current body weight, and even quite acceptable for someone who's pushing hard on training or pushing hard on food volume, but not simultaneously. However, if you're somewhat a fitness fanatic like me, pushing hard on every front, weight training, cardio training, eating food, trying to get super jacked and super fit, then this combo will bite your ass so hard in the end that you are forced to face the harsh reality. Your fitness nutrition standards have to be a lot more stringent than the mainstream nutrition consensus. In fact, this video is a natural extension from my last video, why fish oil is so anabolic. But as opposed to minimizing the negative impact of inflammation, this time, I want to hammer home the concept of threshold and accumulative dosage effect in this video. Now, both of my parents are medical professionals. My father is an anesthetist and my mother is a retired matron or head of the nurses. Because of my family background, for a very long period of time, I had a deeper interest in general health and nutrition than training itself. And in medicine context, there's an adage that is well known to all the medical professionals. The dose makes the poison. This adage was created by the Swiss physician Paracelsus back in 1538 and is intended to indicate a basic principle of toxicology. When the accumulated dosage has exceeded the threshold, even something that was previously benign will be harmful to the body. This principle applies to cyanide, applies to insulin, and applies to oxygen. So it should not surprise you that this principle also applies to gluten and lactose as well. And I will talk about my beef with gluten first. Growing up, I had tons of foods that contain gluten: buns, biscuits, noodles, bread. Before I started serious training, I have never had any issues with gluten, or so I thought. So I paid zero attention to celiac disease and gluten sensitivity. Heck, even when I first started training almost 4 years ago, I was cooking penne pasta as my main carb source and had no particular issues with gluten for the majority of my training time. And because of that, although I bought this book, Grain Brain, years ago, I was somewhat agnostic to Dr. David Perlmutter's warning of the harm of gluten. However, since the middle of last year, I have drastically changed my mind, and now I'm a firm believer of Dr. David Perlmutter's warning because my first-hand experience has taught me that gluten is harmful to your body regardless of the dosage. The only thing that matters is whether the manifestation of the symptoms is serious enough to warrant your attention. And this will really depend on your lifestyle and how intolerant you are to gluten. To people who have celiac disease, trace amount of gluten is enough to warrant their attention because the symptoms of celiac disease are serious right from the bat. To people who have gluten sensitivity, as their tolerance for gluten is higher than people with celiac disease, it will take them a moderate amount of gluten to induce the symptoms like bloating and diarrhea. To people who think they're gluten tolerant, they may eat a lot of bread and pasta and have no digestive issues. But don't worry, gluten is still causing harm to your body, but most likely some very mild joint pain that is barely noticeable if you're just sitting behind a desk and not moving a lot in your day. Which perfectly explains why, in a lot of people's eyes, gluten is not as bad as what they were told to believe, because the symptoms caused by gluten have little interference with a sedentary lifestyle. However, all these seemingly mild issues caused by gluten will escalate very quickly when you have a very active lifestyle and have to eat a lot more food to either fuel your sports performance or to grow muscle. Because compared to normal sedentary people, not only your body is receiving more information from more gluten, but it is also receiving some information from your hard training. And at the same time, the mild joint pain that feels negligible when you're just sedentary will become clearly felt when you go through your hard training. And when you add all these things together, because of the accumulated dosage effect, even the most gluten tolerant person will have their tolerance threshold exceeded. And let me share with you my first-hand experience. If you have watched my previous videos, you would know that I'm a huge proponent of cardio. And I have done a whole series of cardio training prior to doing any weight training videos because I believe the importance of cardio has been seriously underestimated in current fitness culture. And it was on this elliptical that I had the epiphany moment of gluten. And I could still remember the moment as it was yesterday. Now, I was never a big bread eater, but I did indulge myself in sourdough dark rye bread for quite a few weeks in last June. Every night, I was having more than 5 slices of this kind of bread. And there were no clear symptoms in the beginning. No digestive issues, no diarrhea, no bloating, and no joint pains. So everything was all good. I was, after all, gluten tolerant by my own self-diagnosis. But on this particular day, as I was riding on the elliptical, there was this swelling feeling coming from my left knee that was so bizarre to me. Now, granted, I was training really hard in the gym, and sometimes I could suffer from my sore legs for a few days after a hard leg day. But there was never this kind of weird swelling feeling before. And this swelling feeling would not bother me if I was just walking or sitting there. But when I was riding on the elliptical, it became so annoying that it really hampered me from exerting myself to the maximum. And that was exactly when a light bulb lit up in my head. This is all caused by gluten. My gluten tolerance threshold has finally been exceeded, and the symptoms are always there. It is only until now that the manifestation of the symptoms has finally caught my attention. And because of this epiphany moment, I did not have any sourdough bread that night. And guess what? The next day, when I jumped on the elliptical and started riding again, the swelling feeling in my left knee has subsided. So that's it. The proof is in the pudding. Now I have experienced the accumulated dosage of inflammation caused by gluten. And to prove me right one more time, when Cyclone Alfred hit the coast this year in March, causing a power outage in my house, and I had to feed myself with foot-long Subway sandwiches for a few days, I have experienced serious swelling knees and diarrhea again, but almost instantly this time. So yes, now I'm 100% convinced that gluten is the villain. And if you are training super hard and eating a lot, it will bite your ass hard in the end. The same thing is with normal milk. Milk is one of my favorite foods. Growing up, I have always had decent amount of milk for most days, and I have never had any digestive issues. So by my self-diagnosis, I was lactose tolerant until this day. Nowadays, when I go to commercial gym, I will bring a bottle of sports drink and a bottle of milk mixed with protein powder to hydrate myself during training. And this combo works really well for me. But on this particular day, for whatever reason, I swapped my sports drink with a bottle of normal skim milk. To save the trouble of driving back home and driving back to gym again, I just drank 2 bottles of normal skim milk, which is 2 liters in total. Mind you, on the same day, I had already drank quite some milk prior to training. And guess what? On the same night, I could not fall asleep. Constant gassing, stomach cramping, visiting the toilet every 15 minutes. I was suffering from exactly the same symptoms as every other lactose-tolerant person is. Turns out, in the face of liters and liters of normal milk, my lactose-tolerant threshold has been finally breached. It was from this moment on I have decided, no more normal milk for me, only lactose-free milk. That's why I've specified lactose-free milk in the top 3 foods to get you really big video. Milk is perfect, only in the absence of lactose. The issue of lactose intolerance is less well known compared to gluten intolerance, partially because the symptoms are less harmful. There's definitely no joint pain in my own case. But more than likely, it is due to the reason that most people will not drink milk in huge quantities. However, as milk is the ultimate bulking food, a gallon of milk per day, as they say, people from the gym nation may have to resort to milk eventually for pushing up the calories. And because milk is so easy to overdrink, sooner or later your lactose tolerance threshold will be exceeded. And when it is exceeded, all hell breaks loose. So there you have it, my beef with gluten and lactose. They may seem very benign with moderate dosage under your tolerance threshold. But the moment the dosage exceeds your tolerance threshold, you will be suffering just like any other celiac or lactose intolerant person. And we fitness fanatics are known for exceeding the threshold. That's why I'm staying away from bread and normal milk for good. I've learned my lesson, and I hope you guys can listen to me and do not have to learn the lesson again. That's it, guys. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.